Fellow Decepticons, take heed. Your leader, Megatron, still lives. Though we remain dispersed throughout the far reaches of the galaxy, exiled from our true home, we are all still Decepticons, united by a common purpose. The time has come for us to put aside our differences and act as one under my undisputed leadership. Only then can we cast off the shackles of Autobot oppression. Working together, we can raise up our glorious empire once more and crush all who stand in our way.
Oh man, come on! It's gotta be around here someplace. Ugh, I don't believe this! How could you lose the remote?
What makes you so sure I lost it?
'Cause you're you,
Hey, just because I lost that video game,
and the toothpaste, and my football, and the waffle iron.
things disappear. How am I supposed to know where they go?
Well, how am I supposed to watch TV without a remote?
Simple. You just get up and change the channel.
Don't even joke like that.
I wasn't joking.
Good, 'cause it wasn't funny. Now either help us look for the remote or go back to
This
your
is
nasty
a
old
pointless
book and...
argument over a useless device.
All right, and we are back. Another Megatron draws. And it's been a while. Holy fucking hell. Like 3 weeks since our last stream or something. But that's because I've been rather busy. Busy boy. Because I've been working out of town. So I couldn't really do a whole lot streaming-wise over the weekends. But we're finally back. Hopefully we'll be coming back to more streams this week. Now, I obviously don't have anything planned for colors, but so today, since it's been a little while, I decided to do a big Teen Titans Raw stream, or ink stream rather. So we have a few sketches we can do here today. Not sure if we'll get to all of them, but we'll try. We'll try. We'll at least get this one done, which is the Beast Boy sketch. And then we have a few others. We have Red X. We have Cheshire. And we have a Donna Troy and Kyle Rayner piece, kind of like what if these two characters were in the Teen Titans cartoon. Now, this one, now obviously Donna Troy was in the comics, so for the show, and so this is kind of what her design kind of looked like in those comics, and so I wanted to kind of replicate that as much as possible. And for Kyle Rayner, I always kind of thought it would be really cool if they actually did a Green Lantern in the show at some point, and so I think that the most logical one would have been Kyle Rayner. Because he was a Titan in the cartoon, and he had a romantic interest with Donna Troy, so it kind of made sense. It would make sense to kind of bring those two characters in if they were to continue the show, obviously. So and I kind of gave him I'm thinking of putting him in his Daryl Banks costume, but I gave him his hairstyle from the animated series, from the Superman cartoon, as well as the Justice League cartoon when he kind of showed up, because I wanted to give him a bit more youth, and so made his hair a little more spikier. And a few other sketches here. I have a Rose, Ravager, kind of in the Teen Titans style, with a little Slade in the background. Not sure if I'll fall through with that one. I might just keep it a solo piece, but I just have it in the background in case I decide to. Or if I do decide to go with this, I'm probably going to redraw entirely for Slade. But yeah, that's the mission for today. I might show off some other little sketches I've been working on while I was AWOL for a bit, but let's just get started. Let's start on Beast Boy. Now, before we get started, I want to get some tunes playing in the background. Oh, and before we get started, I have a little poll I put up in the chat, asking the chat. I'm going to do a couple of other polls throughout the stream, but which animal do you like to see Beast Boy turn into the most? Since this is a Beast Boy drawing we're doing, I think it makes sense to kind of do a poll based on him. which animal do you like to see him turn into? That's because he can answers or more ones that he kind of transforms into the most, which would be T-Rex, gorilla, I'd say lion or some sort of tiger, and then I just put like the octopus because he turned into that thing a lot in the show. So but before we get started, we'll get some tunes going. So little Teen Titans score I have. I might just put in the background. Hopefully, I don't get claimed for it. And let's just see. Do 10 for the gain, and I'll let you guys decide if it's too loud or not. So, all right. So I guess we just better get right into it. So let's see here. So move the light. Okay, should work fine. Start off with the hair. Just gonna outline that. Get the chin going. All right. And I'll wait until more people kind of show up before we start talking about the lore, because I don't want to have to repeat myself. Because there's a lot to Beast Boy's story in the comics that you don't really get to see a whole lot of in the cartoon, just because they didn't really get to expand that much on him because the show got canceled. But there was quite a lot that they didn't show in the cartoon, and for good reason, because he doesn't really have the most backstory of all the DC heroes, but honestly, it's kind of given. Most superheroes are supposed to kind of have tragic backstories. Not everyone, obviously. You don't have to have a tragic past, be a hero, and all that, but it does help. It does help to kind of sympathize and relate to the audience, though. And the torso. Nap down there. I'll grab the fingers. Get them out of the way. Get a little peace sign, because he's a peaceful guy. Once you piss him off, then he can be a force to be reckoned with. A little glove here. Let's go to there for now. Now look at his shoulder. Hey, Deadman. Good to see you. Reminds you we're going live. Yeah. Been a while. Since I streamed. Finally have a day off on the weekends. So going out of town way too much. But good money. It's good money I'm making from it, so can't complain. Trying to save up for the Hawaii trip. If I can make it happen. My circle templates. Just need to do a little bit of a. Just need to draw in a little indication of the belt, and it should be right in the center. So right about here is where it should go. I'll bring in this guy. So we're just gonna look at his belt. Okay. And then I made the circle over too big. It's okay. Okay, and then just trying to see where the purple, or the sort of, not the purple, but where the line on his costume starts. It's right about here. Middle, this could be polar. But yeah, so we have a few Titans drawings we got to do today. We have Beast Boy, then we have Red X, we have Argent, we have Cheshire, then we have Donna and Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, and then we have, oh, that's a sketch I discarded, and we have a Rose Wilson, who is Deathstroke's daughter. So we got a few we can work on today. Because I decided, because since I've been gone for so long, I might as well do a big pen and ink stream. Because I didn't really have much time to work on anything that I could get ready for a color stream, which I haven't done in a long time now. Just doing penciling. Just have not had enough time to really finish up any of the inks I have. But that's okay. This means I have more stuff in my backlog to work on. Okay, Mrs. and I are working at Mom's. Awesome. Hello, Grandma Man walking. You hear me? But yeah, so a little bit on Beast Boy's backstory. Well, it's kind of changed a little bit since is first creation, because when Jeff Johns took over in the early 2000s, he kind of changed it up a little bit. But the basic origin is that he got infected with this deadly disease, and he had to be turned. So his parents gave him this serum that basically cured him. But in doing so, it kind of turned him into the green little fella we see today. So, and so it gave him obviously his green skin, but also gave him his shape-shifting powers, because it was connected to. I can't remember what the which I can't remember the exact idea of what the serum was, but basically it was that had something to do with being connected to the animal kingdom and whatnot. So that's why he's able to kind of take on just about any animal form you can think of, and really his powers only are limited by his imagination, really, because he's been able to create like brand new creatures just by thinking of them. So it's really just a matter of if you can visualize them, then you can turn into them, essentially. And more recently in the comics, they've kind of shown that he's actually been able to turn into like alien creatures like Starro, who was one of the biggest Justice League villains for a while, and he actually became a big threat to the Earth because he was kind of taken over by the villain in that story. So yeah, Beast Boy is one of those characters it's like you wouldn't think he'd be extremely powerful, but the more you think about his powers and the way they work, it's like he could rival like some of the heavy hitters in DC if they really if DC really wanted to. They could really make Beast Boy a powerhouse, but because of the nature of its powers, it's kind of yeah, once you open the Pandora's box, right, it's like it's kind of there's like no like limits after that because like I mean they kind of already opened Pandora's box anyways with having him become Starro, so like what's stopping him from becoming like a doomsday monster or something like that, like or replicating like a Kryptonian's DNA and gaining all the powers of Superman. So yeah, Beast Boy's one of those characters that has like so much untouched like potential as a force to be reckoned with. So but even then, even without all that upgrade, he's still a powerful character, don't get me wrong, without that. Because the Animal Kingdom is way stronger than people give it credit for, It's like there's not many heroes can have with like T-Rex, It's unless you're like Superman level power or something like. But if you're like a Batman, it's like you're pretty much screwed. So, but yeah. We kind of have his whole body sort of mapped out now. So we go ahead and erase a lot of this pencil work. Get his handsome mug all cleaned up now. Well, yeah, along with his powers, he can actually turn into another thing he can do is he can actually turn into alien creatures from other planets. So, like, they show this. I think they show this in the Teen Titans episode. It's the one where they go to Tamaran, which was Starfire's home planet, and they found out, it was kind of like a funny scene where he's like, he kind of just had a lucky guess, and he turned into one of the little guard dog things that the guards of the palace kind of had guarding the place, so to speak. And so he did, and it kind of surprised both Raven and Cyborg at the time. He's like, "What the hell? You can do that?" It's like, I guess so. So really, his powers only are really limited by his imagination. But I can't remember if this is in the comics or not, but I think that he has to actually be on the planet of the alien creatures before you can actually turn into them. But I can't know for certain. I don't think so anymore though, because now it's kind of limitless because he just turned to Starro now recently in the comics. So I think that rule's kind of gone out the window if it was a rule to begin with, because now he's kind of nothing's off limits now for his character to turn into. So all right, so I'm not going to emphasize his muscles. He's a bit more lanky guy in the show. In the comics, he's a bit more built, but this is obviously Teen Titans, so this is like younger Beast Boy, so he's not going to have a full Superman bod just yet. So just going to thicken up the eye here. A little wonky on the edges. We'll clean that up in a minute. It might have been a little too thick, so to speak. I should do a very, very simple sort of muscle line. If this is like Superman or something, I'd probably like emphasize them a bit more, but not for Beast Boy. Hey, old man, how's it going, man? Good to see you. I think the music might be a little, at least for me it is. I'm just gonna turn it down just a little bit. That should be fun. Let me know if you guys want the music to be louder. We can make that happen. All right, so I might have to go back the eye a little thinner, but we can do that later. Just trying to get all the pencil lines taken out. Clean up our changeling, and we'll get some inks thrown in. Let's see. You know what? I think I might use a brush pen. find it. It's not it. Where I'll put you. A little small. Hold on. Yep. All right. So the black parts of the costume we'll do first. Then we'll come back in later on. We'll come in with some gray tones. So I like to do that for my inks. I like that gray tones for them. Just kind of helps finish off the piece or the inks for this one. Adds a bit more of a, yeah, I don't know. I just like the style. I just like the style of gray tones on inks. Just looks cool to me. I saw this really nice one actually on Instagram from an artist I follow. I can't remember her name, but she did a really nice like gambit piece that was really freaking cool. There's all gray tones. These brushes, seen better days. I haven't decided what I want to do for the background yet. Might just do a simple comic book panel thing going down. Leaving little extra highlights for the grays. I'll come back to this. I'm thinking leaning more towards warm gray for the skin tones, and then cool gray for everything else, or the other grays. Because I like to try and like separate things that I'm coloring when I do the gray tones, like trying to make sure, like for the cool gray, I try to use on certain parts. So I'll kind of get to it in a minute when I get to the gray tones, but we're just going to stick with the blacks for now. I'm going to grab my bigger brush. Outline where I want my blacks to go. I enjoy drawing. Unfortunately, I never progressed past the stickman phase. Oh yeah. Landscapes are really fun to draw. Actually, they're really easy. Actually, I kind of found that. Found out when I was starting to do dioramas, because I did a lot of mountainscapes and some forest backgrounds and stuff like that. So it was really it's kind of interesting how much easier it is to draw from reality versus, or rather, when it comes to nature. Like nature is really easy to draw actually in color, because you don't have to be. Because the thing with like drawing like humans or whatever, or people, like you have to be very, very, careful, because if you draw like a certain detail wrong, it kind of looks wonky. But with nature, it's like you can just do whatever you want, because it's like it's nature. So, and nature is imperfect. There's always going to be different shapes to trees, different shapes to flowers, so mountains or whatever. So you can make as many mistakes as you want, because probably still look good in the end. Just black that whole thing out there. Get the side of his torso going here. Yeah, I'll just black it all out. It's awkward if I don't. Okay. And there's a little bit of a thick line in the here, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my circle templates again. It's a little bit thicker here. That's all. But you know what? Stick figure is actually a really good place to kind of start from for an artist, because there's a lot you can do with a stick figure. I'm going to show that one day. I'll show that right now. Actually, real quick. Let's get a blank sheet. So you take a basic stick, man. Like everyone kind of draws this, right? But if you position the sticks, the lines for the stick a certain way, you can actually kind of map out a basic sort of torso or human figure, which this one's kind of a little too high up, but whatever. But like this is actually a good way, this is a little time to kind of do a little tutorial here. I don't really do this very often, but you start with a circle in the head, put a line down. That's for your shoulder line. So you put your little circles here, and that indicates the shoulder blades or whatever. Then you can just put a little line here for the neck, and then we go here, right about here. And this would be like your pecs if you're drawing a man. And so this would be the abdomen, and then the hips right around here. And then you put in little circles here. I'm not sure who I'm drawing, man or woman, but whatever. But like, and just like draw little lines here. So, and put the hand around here, and then we already kind of have a figure going. So it's really, really simple actually to just kind of construct the basic form with stick figures. Because so I still do this. I still use like stick figure drawings almost. So it's like if you learn to utilize those kinds of little skills that you do have, you might actually find that you can draw a whole lot of stuff with it. So like just very quickly like rough in some little legs here. Obviously the proportions are a little bit off here, but you get the idea. So yeah, a little tutorial time for Mega. Not sure I'm the best or most qualified person to do tutorials. I don't really do them. And I don't really have time for it, but I do little things like that every once in a while to kind of show how I do things. Yeah, it's like we're pretty much ready to go. Actually, you know what? I'll actually ink in the mouth. So that would be all in shadow. Yeah, when it comes to drawing, like you just have to kind of visualize things, like, or rather take what everyday objects that you see and just kind of break them down into 3D shape. Like for example, like take a cup, for instance. It's just if you look at a cup or something, it's just a cylinder. And so if you know how to draw a cylinder, this is something you probably could have learned. You might have learned in a school or in math class, because that's how I learned it. Where it's like you just draw two things here, and it's like you already have a cup almost, you know. But a more proper cup has usually a cup is well, it depends on the cup. Obviously, there's different sizes of cups, but your average cup, usually the top is usually a little bit wider than the bottom. So it's just a matter of just like resizing things and just kind of figuring it out in your head. But if you just like look at the human form, just kind of break it down to very simple shape, like the head, for instance, is basically like a circle or an oval. If you just start with that, and then it's like it becomes really, really simple and easier to kind of draw things. Like it's not even so much about it's not so much about the actual physical ability, because I think anyone can just pick up a pen and just like draw something. But it's hard. I think it's hard to like visualize or knowing where to start with a drawing. It's where a lot of people kind of get frustrated at when they're first starting out. Let's bring in some gray tones. Okay, so for the silver parts, we're going to use a cool gray. So do that first. That'll be the gloves and the belt. All right, and then all right. All right. Should be it for the grays, for the silver parts. So for skin tones, we use a warm gray. I might mix in a cool gray with that, just kind of make it more depth. But just gonna bring the shadow down there. A little bit of shadow here on the ear. Try to pick my battles here when it comes to doing this. I don't want to do too much, just enough. A little shadow there. Put a little bit of indication around the hairline here. Okay, I'll bring in the cool grays. I don't even know if it is a cool gray. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool gray. I like it. It was. I haven't really used these Faber-Castell ones as much, but I'm starting to really like them. That's why I kind of bought like a second set of them when they run out. Just kind of stock up here. So I used to use a Pentel brush pen for the gray tones, but they're really hard to find now. And I have to buy them online, so there's like, yeah, let's get a different pen. It's a little too much. It's okay. Should be in for Beast Boy. Just gonna tidy this up. I'll come back in with a pencil crayon to kind of lighten this up so it looks a bit more janky here. But we'll start off, we'll get the costume going first and the hair. We'll use, let's stick with a cool gray for the costume, or for the blacks, or no, for the purple part of the costume. Make your mind. Jesus. I'll kind of just go over where the arm would be. Casting a shadow here. Might bring another color actually. Just kind of differentiate between the glove. But yeah, so a little bit more info on Beast Boy, because I didn't really go into it much. But so after he got his powers, he kind of went through some very traumatic experiences afterwards, because his parents ended up dying in a waterfall accident that he always kind of blames himself for, even to this day, because it's like, which you can kind of understand why, because like the way he because his powers are always evolving, so it's like, at the back of his mind, every time he gets into a new animal he can turn into, I imagine he always like kind of thinks about, how he could have used that ability to save his parents, from dying in that waterfall accident. So it's something that kind of always haunts him as a character, and he's kind of a character who kind of uses his sense of humor, his jokes, and all that to kind of hide a lot of his pain. Kind of like Spider-Man, because the thing with Spider-Man was that he, anytime. The reason why he's like joking all the time is because he doesn't want the villains to know that he's like straight up like terrified to fight them, because he's always scared to fight the Green Goblin. But he uses his jokes to kind of lighten the mood and keep himself positive and whatnot. Hide his inner turmoils and whatnot. So the same thing kind of applies to like Beast Boy. He kind of uses his sense of humor to kind of lift everyone's spirit up, even when they're in a very tough situation. And so after his parents were killed in the accident, he kind of got kidnapped or something like that, and then by these like criminals and all that, and they kind of forced him to commit crimes for them, and eventually he ended up in the care of his uncle who abused him. So, and then eventually he was able to find a new home for a little bit, which was the Doom Patrol. And that was his original superhero team that he was a part of for a little while before they were eventually killed off, and then he eventually went on and joined up with the Titans, which kind of became his one true family, because everyone else is dead or not safe for living in, whatnot. So yeah, so he's had a really pretty interesting story. Like, he's actually been an actor at some point, because I think he was taught acting by Rita, the Elastic Woman. Not to be confused with the one from The Incredibles. It's a very different character in comics. And she kind of became his like sort of adopted mother, as well as Mento, who was the leader of the Doom Patrol, and he kind of became his like father figure. But he ended up going crazy a little bit in the comics. Yeah. And so how this differs from the Well, okay, well, I'll explain the difference between the original origin for Beast Boy and then with the more recent version, as well as I'll kind of explain the difference between him and from the comics versus the Teen Titans cartoon show. So in the comics, when they, I think this is after Crisis, or this is before New 52. This is when Jeff Johns kind of took over for the Teen Titans book for a while. And the only thing they really changed for that was how he got the disease that kind of led to him getting his powers and all that. Because originally it was just that he contracted it somehow because he was living in Africa with his parents, because they were biologists and all that. They were studying animals and stuff, and so he kind of contracted this very, very rare disease and whatnot. And I think he was called Sakusha or something. It was kind of like a similar. It was kind of like the way it was described. I think it was malaria, something like that. But he kind of contracted, and so. However, in the Jeff Johns reboot, it was actually a monkey that bit him that was carrying the disease that kind of led to him getting his powers and all that. So it's the only real major difference with how he got his powers from the original origin story compared to the more recent story. All right. Just gonna do a little shadow. And so now the way he kind of differs in the cartoon show is that the Doom Patrol is actually very much alive and well past him joining the Teen Titans. So as we kind of see in the first 2 episodes of season 5, and we kind of learn a little bit more about. And it's kind of a really interesting episode too, because it was kind of the first time you really see. I mean, obviously there would be episodes in the show where you saw more. More serious Beast Boy, because most of the time he's just goofing around. He's kind of a jokester. He's basically the class clown of the show of the team. But this is the first time you really got to see what he's like with the Doom Patrol, and you see him have almost like a militant sort of attitude, because that's kind of how the Doom Patrol kind of operated in the show, because they were kind of like the Justice League if the Justice League was a bit more militant and a bit more hardcore, because the way they kind of treated every mission was that they they kind of viewed it as their last, because they were very determined to stop the Brotherhood of Evil, which was their main villain, even if it meant their own deaths. That's kind of how they operated, and that obviously led to Beast Boy clashing with Mento, their leader, because obviously Beast Boy doesn't want to lose another family because of what happened to his previous family. And so that's kind of where, and so he ended up just leaving the Doom Patrol altogether in the show's version of it. Now they obviously don't really mention his parents in the show, but that's most likely the reason why he ended up leaving, just the way. I think they made one small reference to his time in Africa in this show. And I think that it was in the Tokyo animated movie that came after the show ended. Because I think there's a scene where I think he has a little pendant or something like that on his backpack or whatever when he's packing up, and it has the name of the country he was raised in West Africa. Was it South? I can't remember if it was South or West Africa he was raised in. It's been a while, but it was one of those places. So. But yeah, so it was a really cool episode, the Homecoming episodes, because it was the first time you really saw him you saw a really different side to Beast Boy. He wasn't just you kind of realized that he wasn't just a jokester. There was a seriousness to him to a point. The way the Doom Patrol wanted to act, they were very, very, like I said earlier, they were very much, they were more concerned about stopping the Brotherhood of Evil, more so than actually making sure they all made it out alive at the end of the mission. That's kind of where they clashed on that in the way they kind of want to do things. So go ahead and darken up these shadows here. Come back in with the lighter gray. And you really got to see, also in that whole season, actually, you really got to see a different side of Beast Boy as you saw him like actually take on a more of a leadership role, especially at the end there, because he was the main reason why they were actually able to stop the Brotherhood of Evil at the end of the series. Because he's the one that led the initial charge. Because Robin was out, like Robin, because he's the leader, he was out. He was like out of commission for the final, or at least for the start of the final act. So it was all up to Beast Boy and a few other honorary Titans that he didn't really work with. So it was really kind of impressive if you really think about it, because like these are people he's never worked with before, as a unit, as a team. So he was able to actually take them and actually formulate a good plan to actually infiltrate the Brotherhood's ranks and then obviously take them down. So with help, obviously, it wasn't obviously 100% alone, because the other Titans like Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, eventually they did show up, but they were kind of like, they had their hands full at the time, so they couldn't really help Beast Boy's initial charge. So yeah, it was really cool to kind of see him take up a more leadership role in the show. All right, so let's get the arms going real quick. But yeah, so as far as the Beast Boy's origin goes, depending on how, I'm not too sure how much they were gonna. Much of it is still like reigns true from the comics, the original comics, anyways. But I imagine most of it is like kind of the original comic book origin. So I'm guessing most of it's intact. And it is pretty obvious why they couldn't really show a whole lot of that, because of how the subject matter of it, because there's a lot of like abuse involved, and so you can't really show a whole lot of like abuse towards children in a show for kids. So, but I imagine because Marv Wolfman and George Perez were very much involved with the show, that it was probably going to be the same sort of origin that we were kind of accustomed to from the comics, but with some minor changes. Don't get me wrong, obviously, because they did the same thing. Because they borrow a lot of like George Perez and Marv Wolfman era stuff for the whole show as a whole, with the Judas Contract arc with Tara and Slade, and then you had the arc with Raven and all that. So, which borrowed very heavily from those comics. And hey, Power, how's it going, man? Need some water. Yeah, it's good to be back, though. It's gonna be back because I've been gone for fucking weeks now because I couldn't get the time to stream. I've been needed elsewhere. Because of work, but it's good to be back. And today we're doing a big Teen Titans stream. Not sure how much we can get done today. But yeah, we got Beast Boy. We have a few other Titans that I'll show off in a minute. So, got lots to do today. Let's start off with Beast Boy, because he's my favorite Titan. He's used to be Robin, actually. I used to be a Robin fan because I was really into Batman when I was younger, but in more recent years, I started to become really fond of Beast Boy's character. It's really like, I kind of like grown fond of the characters, those kinds of characters who they go through some of the worst pain in their lives, but they always try to make the best of it. I mean, that's kind of like the reason why like the Kung Fu Panda movies resonate with me so much, because like especially that second movie where it's like Poe kind of learned to overcome his trauma, but without changing who he was at his core, and that's kind of what I really admired about that movie. It's like it doesn't matter what you went through before; it's just a matter of what you do now with your circumstances now. You know, like that's a really good message. I think that, and it's a very very important one where it's like because you don't see Poe like change into a darker hero because he's still the panda we all love. It's just he's just able to learn, accept, and grow from his traumas and all that. It's the same thing kind of applies to Beast Boy a little bit, although he has a bit more emotional issues than say Poe does, but he still at the very least still tries to kind of be the best that he can be. Because he does have a little bit of a kind of saw us a little bit in the Aqua Led episode where he kind of has a little bit of a inferiority complex because he's always trying to prove himself and all that in that episode. And the main reason why he has that is because obviously he was unable to save his own parents from death. So it's just like you can kind of understand why he kind of feels that way. It's like and so. And he's always kind of told he was doing wrong by the, in the eyes of the Doom Patrol, he was always doing things wrong. So you can kind of see where that kind of inferiority complex would come from. But eventually, in the comics, he grew out. Not that he grew out of it, but he learned to cope with it a bit better and become a better hero because of it. Right now, I'm using a pencil crayon, a white pencil crayon, just kind of lighten up the grays here. And for this, we'll do the hair, and then we'll kind of move on to the background, which we'll probably just do like a basic sort of comic book panel right behind him. But have you back? Thanks. Hopefully, I'll be back next week. I can't remember if I have to work next weekend. Don't think so. I think I have to let next weekend off, but we'll see. So I don't think I have a whole lot of out-of-town work this week, but I do the after. So. But it's all good. It's going into my vacation fund next year, hopefully. Well, I'm starting to think I might just do a cruise. That might be a better option the more I think about it. Because on the cruises, they can actually take you to all the different like islands on in Hawaii, rather than just staying in one place. So we'll see. We'll see what I decide to do with that. Also, have to coerce a few people to go with me because I don't like traveling alone. It's just boring. It's boring to just travel alone. It's like, what's the point of going to a place like Hawaii without people? It's just like, it's like who wants to like spend their time alone on a beach like a douchebag? It's like I was like, it's like bring some family along with you. Share the experience. Let me know if the music in the background is a little too low. Let me know if you want me to turn it up. Because feedback is important. Okay. I might just bring a little bit of the warm gray, the hair, I might call it, or Beast Boy. His hair is more of a dark green as opposed to his main like skin tone. It's more of a lighter sort of green. I just want to see how Paul's doing actually. I haven't looked in a bit. I was picking dinosaurs and T-Rex, so it's either that or the monkey. So, which by the way, actually was actually able to turn into King Kong before. I think they did it in their older comics, and they did it more recently in the comics with the crossover event that they're doing with the MonsterVerse with like Godzilla and stuff like that. In the more recent comics, they actually had a scene. Beast Boy was going toe to toe with King Kong as a big green gorilla. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool image there. Of all the faults DC has right now, like one cool thing is that they're actually expanding on Beast Boy's character a bit more, giving him more powers and stuff like that. So more cool things to do. I mean, he's pretty much OP as fuck at this point because now he can turn into Starro. So, and Starro is one of the most powerful characters in the DC universe because he can mind control people. And when he was, because in the comic book, he was actually taken over, so he wasn't really in his right mind at the time. But the person who was controlling him, he kind of was, instead of the Starro, like, because the way Starro kind of works is that he sends out these little starfish that to people, and then that kind of allows him to sort of command them and control their minds and all that. And so, but when it happened in the Beast World event, instead of the mind control, they actually turned when they were kind of treated more as spores that were infecting people, so it turned certain people into more a beastly version of themselves. So they turned Batman into like a big werewolf. They turned Killer Krog into a more animalistic looking crocodile, and stuff like that. Like little things like that. They kind of changed that. I think Power Girl became something. I can't remember what she turned into, but yeah, that was kind of the deal for that whole storyline. All right. All right. I think we're good on Beast Boy now. Yeah, grab. Let's see. We'll do a little comic book style panel in the background, just kind of fill it in, make it less boring. Something like that, maybe. Maybe like this way. Just slant it. Yeah. Okay. Grab my big pen. And not to worry about that. Just kind of outline his body so we can separate it from the panel. Yeah, you know what? I'll use my gray tones for the background here. Something different. We'll do a little cloudy effect here. I'll just keep it basic. So we'll roll. This is watching on the big screen now. Oh shit! All right. Well, I better keep the swearing to a minimum then, because I don't want to accept to anger the grandparents. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. All right. All right. And just the other side here. And that should be it for Garfield. All right. Now I'll add a little highlight there. Okay, and then we'll blacken the pupil a bit. Just want to tighten up the inks here. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of tidy up the eyebrows. Okay, and last one is highlights. So I got my Uni-ball. Make sure it's working properly. Just a little highlight there. Just gonna fill in the white part of his eye there a bit more. Right. Just add a little highlights to the glove there. Do a little nighttime scene in the background. Maybe it's here's his window. There's a window outside of the Titan's tower. A little crescent moon. Just for added detail. Some little rain. All right, that's it for Beast Boy. Grab my, just sign it. Find my pen for that. There. And what day is it? 18th. So boom. Beast Boy. There we go. Yeah, Beast Boy. In the house. All right. And you know what? Really quickly, I just want to tidy up the hairline. It's a little too thin there. That's not really doing it. There we go. So thicken up these lines here, and then we'll move on to Red X. There we go. Now Beast Boy's done. He's kind of looking good now. So yeah, there's Beast Boy. Now we can move on to Red X. So before we do that, I think we'll just do like take a little break. I'll put up a little clip. Just hold on, I gotta pause that. And all right. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do the remote, so we'll do this one.
This is bad.
Okay, so it's not all bad. Somebody please tell me what's going on?
Raven, fix his finger.
Not a good idea. Mixing my powers with his could destroy the dimension's boundaries and nullify all existence.
Who cares? I just want my mouth back.
No problem, no problem. If anybody can fix reality, it's my hero, Robin.
What makes you think I can fix it? I don't even understand how we broke it.
Well, somebody's got to clean up this mess. Come on, y'all.
We're heading for Titan's Tower.
Episodes where it's just like a wacky ass episode from the show. But yeah, so Red X. So he was the character that was kind of created for the show specifically. Now he kind of started off as an alter ego for Robin that he kind of created so that he could go and infiltrate Slade. He was trying to, impress Slade. He was trying to work his way into his ranks so that he could, figure out his plans, what his actual end goal was. But obviously Slade saw through the mask. He knew it was Robin, But in the episode, he actually kind of like starts to alienate the other Titans, and he kind of leads questionable decisions with him. So it was a really interesting arc, the whole apprentice arc with him and Slade, where you have his loyalty kind of being put into question, and by the end of the episode, he kind of has to learn to really respect and trust his teammates, with the truth and all that. But let's get some pictures pulled up. Also, the reason why I'm doing these adding the clips in between, because it gives me time to pull up some reference material. But I think I should be good with this, what we have so far. So I'm just going to go in with a lighter pencil. So we'll use my FN. But yeah, so as the show went on, the Red X persona came back, and it was in the form of a very mysterious character that nobody knows the identity of to this day. It's kind of like the kind of thing with this character is that when Red X came back, it was a different person wearing the suit. It wasn't Robin this time around. So someone had broken into the Titan's Tower and stole Robin's suit, and so he ends up running around doing his thing. And that kind of became sort of the draw for the character, was the mystery, of who he was. A lot of people were saying it was Jason Todd, or maybe it was Grant Wilson, Deathstroke's son. It could have been multiple different things, but I think I kind of like the idea of never knowing who it was. I just like it kind of being a mystery that never gets solved. Sometimes when it comes to certain characters and certain stories, like there's sometimes you just don't want to know certain things because it kind of ruins the mystery. Because some characters there's meant to be a mystery, kind of like the Joker. You never really know where he came from, and that's what kind of makes the character really interesting. Eye grabbing. You don't know everything about him, and makes it a more interesting story, I think. So I would like it if the show was to continue. I would like it if they just kept it a full on mystery that never gets answered. But I kind of like the idea of it being Grant Wilson. It kind of makes the most sense to me, even though it's a little bit different character in the comics. But they did make some liberties with a lot of characters in that show anyway, so it wouldn't be a far stretch in my opinion. But that Jason Todd kind of works. Like maybe like Jason Todd was kind of sent by Batman to kind of keep an eye on Bird Boy or something. But at the same time, it wouldn't make sense as to why and stuff like that or what have you. But yeah, I don't think Batman would approve of Jason stealing stuff, even if it was undercover. Though he could have had him been stealing it because he wanted to learn more about the stuff that powered his suit. Because that's what Red X was mostly after, stuff that kind of the whatever it was called that was powering his suit. Okay. All right. Didn't bother that. His other one. No, let's have it kind of in shadow there behind everything. And I think this one should just come down this way. Just going to X off that part of the cape. Bring in some white out later. Okay. This big sort of X on his torso here. Oop. And then he has a little bit of belt starting here. Should I work in that arm? Hold on. It was. Arm would kind of come up to about. Yeah. That was how the cape kind of go off like this. Luckily, it's black on the outside, so I can just tidy up some of these errors here. Yeah, do that. You can do that. All right, so it's gray arms, and most of his costume is black and white. So, before we do that, we gotta erase a lot of this pencil work, so we don't need it. Not anymore. highlights in. Just on the edges. Don't go too crazy with the highlights here. Should do a highlight on top of them, and that's it. All right. All right. Let's go bring my music back on. Filling it. There we go. I just want to go get more tunes. It's really hard to kind of find copyright free. Sometimes they'll say it's copyright free, but it's just like, oh. magic. You go down. Well, I'm not gonna get, but I'll get that. But I might be too urgent. But I'm not sure if I'll be able to go to Cheshire. So we'll see. I don't want to go for too long. There are a few things I want to do today. But I want to go long enough so you didn't miss me too much. I can't remember if I'm working this weekend. I'll check that right now. Should be out this weekend. There's okay. So we'll do this. Whatever I don't finish up today, I'll finish up. Yeah. I'm not going to throw in a few more extra. Yeah, I'll get some time. It's kind of hard to draw on my road trips. Shaky man. So let's just end up bringing a comic book or something like that, or watching a movie on my phone. On those trips. Only time I really draw is when either in the lobby of the hotels or the hotel itself, or my breaks. Roll. Always gotta find time for it. Yeah, gotta find time. Just for kids like this. But yeah, so for plans for this channel, for next month at least, um, I'm thinking about doing another diorama stream because it'll probably be my last one for a little while, anyways. With that, I want to get that one done as soon as possible so that I can then do a little collection tour because there has been some updates in the collection. Twitter, I posted about that. I haven't really, but I want to do like another collection tour once this new. I want to make sure I get this next time around done before I do another collection tour. That way, I don't know. It'll just make more sense that way. All like that. for the blacks. And that is white. I'll go stick with a cool gray. That is one gray. Main red parts of it. Red parts. All right. We're going with the whites here. A little bit lighter. Nice. I'll sometimes do this with the things. Brush it down with the Beast Boy. All this stuff in. Right. Sharpen that. Yeah. Can you grab that real quick? Do our little pad back in. Unship. Now, yeah, we'll do it a little like, yeah. Let's see. I'll do a little lightning effect. Yeah. Very simple, very easy to do. All right, there's Red X. It's done. Do some fine tuning. Wrap it up here. Move on to Argent. Five. Outline the X torso. All right. right, there's red X. So, before I finish it, this is red X. We use a red pen to sign my name. All right, two done now. Before we move on, we're going to put going little commercial break on the cartridge.
You should have accepted my first offer, Cyborg. I would have made a man out of you. I still could, you know. You can take your offer and blow it out your insolent child! Where is it, Cyborg? I've combed through your blueprints, peeled back your armor, stripped off your machinery. But still you defy me. Where in this vile contraption is the part that allows you to resist?
It's not in the circuitry, is it? It's not the machine that resists you. It's me, my spirit. That's the part you can't break. I don't need you to make me a man. I already am one.
All right, booyah. So here we have Argent. Now she's a character I don't know a whole lot about, honestly. I just like her design. She had, I can't remember how many episodes. I think she only like 1 or 2 episodes in the whole show. Don't really know much about her in the comics either. I was just like, you know, she has a really cool design. So it's like, fuck it. And I wanted to draw a Titan's character, so I was like, you know what, let's do her. She had a cute design, and I want to draw her. So that's all I really need. It's like, is she hot? It's like, okay, I'll draw her. So I'm gonna start here. So she's kind of like a goth punk chick vibe to her. So but she has a kind of, but I think she's like British or something. That she has kind of more of a posh sort of attitude as a goth chick. So it's kind of fun. All right. Oh. Okay, let's leave that. She has kind of a very crazy sort of hairstyle here. Right. All right. Look at these little parts. I don't know what the hell they are. I don't know anything about goth clothing. All I know is I like the goth chick vibe. So that's probably why I like Raven so much. Actually, you know what kind of reminds me a little bit of Melanie Mac. A little bit. The way I kind of drew her face kind of gives me that Melanie Mac vibe. Didn't really have that intention when I first draw it, but now the more I look, I'm like, oh, look, looks like kind of looks like her a little bit. Now let's get this eye. So mess up the eyes on the female. You've kind of screwed up. Now she kind of now Raven, she has a bit more of a subtle goth chick vibe, but Argent is a bit more out there. She's a bit more flamboyant, like a bit terms. Your eyes are a bit more crazy looking. Raven's more of a subtle goth chick. Depending on the artist, obviously. I'll grab the eyebrow. I'll just fill that in. There we go. Maybe a little bit closer here. No nose rings or anything like that, so I don't have to worry about that. See, she has black or really dark gray lips. So. Ah, how'd I do? Got here. Dork. All right. Just gonna map out her torso now. Let's see. I just want to look at her energy signatures, like her powers. It's the way it lights up her hand. Just trying to see. Okay. It's kind of a fiery sort of a color, sort of a vibe here. Something like that. Do the same thing over here. But you still kind of see their hand through it. So it's not going to be it's going to be more of a transparent sort of glow around her hand. It's not like Raven where it kind of covers her whole hand. All right. right, she's kind of a big skirt going around. It's kind of one of those with a double layer to it. Like a prom dress in a way. Just a little more. Luckily, most of her costume is black, so I don't have to worry about little mistakes here. And she's a very, very pale, like white skin, so we're probably going to use very, very light gray for her skin tones here. And she's a little tattoo just above her breasts. His hands going. And okay, so the way her hands work, she's kind of like little gloves that kind of have her fingertips kind of poking out. So I can show off a little bit of her nails there. Yeah, should be fine. Thought it'd be a hand wrong. Let's go all black with that. And I think we're pretty much done. So do a little line here. Something like that. All right. Kind of a weird angle I have it positioned at. Camera. I don't like this. Fuck it, we'll screw it. We'll work with it. We can always change it up once we get to the final colored version of this one. It's kind of like I do where I just like trace the original inks onto a better sheet of paper for coloring, like Bristol or blending card. Because like, not only does it allow me to keep the original inks, it also allows me to make changes if I want to. Clean her up. Time is at 1 p.m. So I think we'll go until 2:30 for when we stop. So about another hour and a half, I think we'll go. So in that time, we might be able to get to Cheshire here. If anything, we can probably just get the body going, and then maybe later tonight I'll just finish up the background layer. But I don't know. We'll see. If I finish this one up really quickly, then I can probably move on to Cheshire, and I'll just finish that one off, and I'll save the other Titans drawings for next weekend. So I have a few other ones I'll show off real quick for people just joining us. So I have Cheshire. We have a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern alongside Wonder Girl, and kind of that Kyle Rayner could have looked like if he was in the Teen Titans cartoon show. Can't really see it too much because I haven't really worked on the costume yet, but it's basically based off of the Daryl Banks Kyle Rayner suit. That's just my favorite one. I like the where it has like a little white on the torso and all that, and mostly all black with the green on the boots and the gloves and stuff. Now obviously we got Wonder Girl. Now I drew her in a very different style here than I normally would draw her in, just because I was going for the original Teen Titans cartoon style, and this is kind of like what they're kind of going for with the original I think that she was in the she was in the show, but she was in the tie-in comics, I think, and she was kind of drawn this way. So I want to kind of mimic that as much as possible here. And then we obviously have Rose, aka Ravager, who was Deathstroke's daughter, and so I drew her in because that's what we do here: draw the hot chicks. So. And I kind of want to make a habit of drawing like Titans characters that never appeared in the show, and what they would look like. You know, possibly like maybe do like a Superboy or a Miss Martian at some point would be kind of cool. If like the Titans ever got like, because see the way I kind of would have loved, like my dream sort of ideal like continuation of Teen Titans cartoon would have been like maybe 3 more seasons of the original show, like 3 more seasons of like just the 5. With a few, with up to with the other members kind of growing into their rank, but mainly I'd still kind of keep it the main 5. Kind of like how Justice League did their shows. You know, you had Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, which was where Justice League, the first League cartoon, was mostly about the original 7, so like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all them. And then later on, when they came in with Justice League Unlimited, when they started expanding the roster, bringing characters like Green Arrow and Black Canary and Huntress and all them. So that's kind of how I would have done Teen Titans if the show was to continue. I would have 3 more seasons of the current show, and then do a big time skip and do the new Teen Titans, where you'd see kind of a shift in the team. So you'd have a new Robin, like with Tim Drake or something, and you'd have Superboy with Connor Kent. You'd have Wonder Girl would be swapped out for Cassie. Miss Martian could be in there, Blue Beetle, like bring some of these newer characters, Impulse, you know, as well as, and then have them kind of working alongside the old Titans, you know, Beast Boy, Raven, all them, but those Titans would be grown up. They'd be all like in their 20s or something like that, and then they'd be kind of training the new generation. That's kind of how I would have, in my dream scenario of how I would continue the show. That's how I would go with it. So. Yeah. That's kind of the wrong pen to use for this part. It's a big black marker, so to speak. Fill that in. And then we'll grab the hair real quick because it has the most black on it. Aside from these two kind of set this section right here, where the big red poofiness comes from. It's kind of like Rogue in a sense, where it kind of has 2 colors to her hair. So this time it's black and red instead of brown and white. All right. Sure. Just try and ignore the little energy line. There's the ear. Pretty soon. All right. Right. Oh, better check on the poll. See what's happening. See if anything's changed. No, T-Rex still in the lead, of course. It's showing there's some votes for Big Cats, the lion, but no one is not showing up on the YouTube side. Let's refresh the page. Figure that out. Just tell like Argent would be a real always the most fun to kind of color, like Raven. It's a lot of fun because you can do a lot. For some reason, my microphone muted itself. Oh, why? Should be back now. I was muted this whole fucking time. I'm still mad. If not, I hope you guys enjoyed the ASMR. I'm not gonna rub it. Oh, I just it was like disconnected. I don't have anything else open. On the idea. Or worse than this. Yes. Checking that out. I might change this dress up in the final colors. Just keep it for now. fix the black lines on the creases of it. So keep that flowing. And then do her arms. That should be it for the blacks. We'll probably move into the gray tones. Possibly get started on Cheshire. You kind of disappointed we didn't get to Cheshire because she's thumbnail there on the screen. Oops, I'm gonna leave the energy signature with the pure white. Stand out more from the gray tone. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. We're ready for some gray tones. Okay, so we got warm grays. We have 4 grays to choose from. So I think we're going to use the warm gray for the reds, like we did with the red X. That way it kind of stands out. All right. Red. Oh, the symbol is red. Whatever. Catch that. Her energy signature is red. Oh, her eyes are red too. There we go. Okay, so I might just make the outer edges of it. Very simple. All right, cool grays. Let's do a little bit, not too much. Should grab these shadows in the eyeliner. Probably want to start off, so to speak. Focus the eyes. Focus the hair. The costume done. Okay. And we'll bring the lighter gray. Sorry, I said something weird. Let's see. Flames ahead of her. Let me roll it. Let me just leave it on. Okay. Add the cloud effect around a little bit. Auto wrap there. Lots of that little bit. I just did that middle auto wrap. Grab my ink again. Drop that bad boy in. There we go. Just tops and maybe a little bit along the edges there. Comes to the lighter stuff there. Should we for the background? I'm just going to go in and touch things up. I'll use my further. Oh, and then what? Almost forgot. There we go. And the screen going black. There we go. And now, so you go back in and touch up the inks, and then do a few extra little highlights here and there, and I think we should be good to go. On to Cheshire at almost 2:30. It's almost 1:30 now, so good time. Should be able to finish up Cheshire, and then we'll call it a wrap. Say Kyle and Donna, maybe a few others for next week. That's how we'll roll. Big hair. 1.5, you're up. Tidy up some rings around her face. Right. You're good to go here. They're kind of faded. Unlike he has a bit more volume. Like, no, it's going black. Come on. Keeps popping out. Hold on. Try. Maybe the music is what's kind of getting tired of sitting here to hit same tune over and over again, anyways. All right. Scroll down. Pause it. It's causing the blackout, so to speak. There we go. Just gonna head quiet for now. Just do a little highlight on the hair. Okay, I think that's it for Argent. We bring back the red Pachka. Just sign a name right here on her belly. Cool. Now Argent, ready to go. So yeah, pretty fun little character design here. So all right, since we're moving on to the next drawing, we'll do a little commercial break once again. Let's see. We'll do a Beast Boy clip, I think. There you are.
Beast Boy! Adonis.
So, he was the one who hurt you, right? Not me? He broke into the tower to attack you, and wound up attacking me, too. Ugh. I can't believe I ate meat. I acted like a jerk. I'm sorry. You weren't yourself. Cyborg says the chemicals at the lab mess with my DNA. Unleash something primal. And he gave you an antidote. You're better now. Yeah. But that thing, that beast, it came from inside me. And it's still there. I can feel it. Good. If it wasn't for that beast, I might not be here right now. Having that thing inside doesn't make you an animal. Knowing when to let it out is what makes you a man. Maybe you should call me Beast Man from now on. We're having a moment here. Don't ruin it. Beast Dude? There we go. Now we're back. We're just so fucking retarded. All right. So yeah, moving on. We're gonna work on Cheshire now. I don't know a whole lot about it from the comics.
I do know that she had a relationship with Roy Harper, though. They kind of show that in Young Justice, and a little bit of, and they kind of have a little bit of a tease of that in the Teen Titans cartoon. She had a very minor role in that show. She didn't really play a huge role, but yeah, she has this really kind of freaky sort of cat-like mask design to her. So that's what we're going for today. Start the eyes, and then do the both sides here on the helmet, the mask, whatever you want to call it. Okay. This big, sort of creepy looking smile. She's a Cheshire cat. She has kind of like serrated teeth almost. All right. Don't worry. Underneath it all, she's a hot chick. Know that because look her up in the comics, you understand. Her, it's a little bit rounded off at the edge. There's supposed to be a bit more. Hold on. Not like that. Let's see. So go like this. Now, luckily, she has black hair, so I can cover up a lot of this stuff. But there's some areas I might have a lot of issue with. Let's see. Okay. Start with our robe. It comes down there. She's a more simple skirt, but I like to go a little bit step beyond with skirts on chicks. It's fun to draw, or crazy sort of shapes to them. Gives them more personality, I think. So she kind of has like these bandages almost wrapped around her. All right. This, and we'll bring a little bit of boobage. These kind of pointed sort of fingers or gloves or whatever, claws. And her hair kind of splinters off. So at the bottom of it, it kind of has two, kind of like it has like kind of like these two big ponytails, but they kind of start at the very bottom of her head, if that makes sense. It's almost like the Twi'lek head in Star Wars, and they kind of like splinter off the back there. Look at that. Do this. Right. That should be it. Yeah, should be good enough. Do some erasing. So this will be the last one we do today. And then we'll call it a wrap. We'll do the rest. We have obviously Kyle Rayner and Donna Troy, as well as the Rose. So we'll do that one next weekend, and then we'll go from there. I have a few other ideas actually I might do for next week as well. I have a few other characters. I might do one of the Raven Emotoclones, like just like a solo piece on one of them. But I won't tell you which one it is just yet. We'll get there when we get there. How about that? Maybe a surprise. Ah. Oh, I didn't rip. That's what I get for getting cheap paper. Sketch paper from Inks. You know what? It saves me money. And then we buy a bunch of Bristol and waste it all. Okay, so I'll just black this all thing out here. Should be a shadow. Her head. And we'll quickly grab her hair. Let's do this side first. Actually, doing an arrowette might be really cool in the Teen Titans art style. That might be really cool. Arrowette from Green Arrow. Just a cool character to have in the show in general. A lot of great characters that were really cool to kind of see in the original Teen Titans cartoon that we never really got to see. Let's go do a shadow on the inside of the robe here. Yeah, should be it for the blacks. Oh, no, I missed a little spot here. All right. Bringing the grays already. Start with cool gray. Throw it on the mask. Actually, no, there's one part that needs to be black. Hold on. Real quick. And it's this part. Just a little part on the mask here. And same thing on the other side. Cool. Now do the claws. You'll do warm gray for the. We'll do some warm gray and the light and the cool gray for the skin tones. Just barely looking out of her, so to speak. And just her legs. Okay, bring a little cool gray. Clean that up with some pencil crayon just a minute. Oh, there's a cutoff point on the thing here. There we go. There we go. Just a part of a rub. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, and our skirt. Over that with a warm gray in just a minute. And let's bring out a little bit of cool gray just to kind of clean it up. All right. Bring in pencil crayon, tidy up the grays, and move on to a mask in the background. I think we'll call it red. I'm getting tired and hungry. Order pizza. Ever go wrong with pizza? Like ever. Unless you put ketchup on it like a freak. Or pineapples or bullshit. Then we got problems. All right. Look at you, Phil. If you're watching. All right. I'm gonna put a little highlight in the hair real quick. And some cool gray. Just grab the edges. Just a little bit. Excuse me. Trying to thicken up the mask here. Put in a little nature sort of environment. So I put some trees. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some trees in here. It's very quick. And then I'm going to bring in my ink again. I'll just use that to kind of make the leaves and all that hanging off the tree. I think it's going to be a quick way to get that across there. I think I'll keep the rest of the background white. I think I'll kind of make it more striking that way. Let's do warm gray, and then I think I'll move on to leaves and stuff. There we go. Very simple. So you know, I'll do a quick shadow. Just kind of make her pop more. It's a little too light. A little bit darker shadow. There we go. That's what we need. Right. Let's get the Pentel. And just shake that ink. Yeah, Pentel. We might have ink actually. That won't be very nice. We're good. Might be running out of ink. That's not good. Let me just buy a big jar of it. That's okay. That's interesting. It's the bubble. Right. It should be good enough. So this guy in there. All right, this should be good enough. Just want to touch up the mask a bit. Something a little awkward. Touch up the inks here, and then I think we'll call it a wrap here. We got quite a bit done today. Okay. So a few highlights. I think we're gonna be done here. I almost want to draw her with her mask off at some point. We'll see. Show off that beautiful face. But yeah. Mask seemed simple to do. So with that instead. Okay, that should be it for Cheshire. Since her costume is green, if you want to use green to sign our name. And we'll go right here. Boom. And we got Cheshire now. And I think that's going to do it for me, folks. Going for, holy shit, 3 hours and 20 minutes. So got quite a bit done today. So we got Cheshire done. We've got, gotta find it, Argent done. Yeah, she maybe my favorite one I did today. Oh, her Beast Boy. They're the best ones I've done. Got Red X. They're pretty cool. Might add some more highlights to his arm and to escape, but look at Sharp. And of course, we got our boy, Beast Boy. So give us some peace of mind. And so I'll show off some other lines I've been working on the past few weeks. I've been working on a couple of Raven and Beast Boys. I'm going to draw one where, here's one I'm kind of working on, a sketch form. It's kind of like, I kind of based it off of the Hulk and Black Widow scenes in Age of Ultron, where she's kind of talking down Hulk. So I'm kind of doing the same thing, but with Raven and Beast Boy, but in his Beast form. So I'm trying to do a little. I'm trying a few different things here with Raven and Beast Boy. I have this one pose where I have her kind of leaning on a rock, kind of like in the actual movie scene, kind of reference that, but not really digging it. And then obviously I have this piece I showed off on Twitter of Beast Boy and Raven just chilling. So having a good time in the ops room or whatever it's called. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me this week. And obviously next week we'll be working on these two. We'll be working on Donna and Kyle, and then we'll do not her. Donna's not gonna. We got Rose and a stick figure guy. So we'll be working on those next weekend. So should be a lot. Oh, I also have this Batman sketch I was working on as well. Rose interested, so I have a little Batman. Because he's an easy character to draw when I'm on my road trip. So, but yeah, that's what we got going. I think it was Beast Boy. Need some peace of mind here to end the stream on. So, just want to say a quick thank you to Dadman, Mrs. Dadman, Power, because I know this is there, and Old Man Cometh for watching, and anyone who is lurking in the chat. Thank you guys so much for dropping by. And I guess I'll just see you guys later. Let's see. I found my outro first. So, yeah, so stay tuned for next week. I'll be working on, obviously, the ones we talked about. And I might be dropping by on Dreaming Tabitha's channel again on the 31st. I might be dropping by. I'll have to kind of check my schedule for work just to make sure I can actually make it. But I should be able to make it. I'm thinking I should be able to make it. Only problem is I think I have to leave for out of town the next day, so I might have to just get my packing done earlier or later, or so. But yeah, so that's kind of the plans for me, and obviously I'll try to do some stream. Or I think on that day, I think in June I have a lot of out of town work, so I might be off streaming for those days. But I think when I come back, that's when I think I'll do the diorama streams. Well, for the Bruticus shelf, and then after that, I can probably do another collection tour because there has been some new pieces kind of added to the collection. I have a few more on the way as well that I've ordered. So. Yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, this should wrap it up for me. So, on that note, I will see you guys later.
Transformers will return after these messages.